Good evening. It is Wednesday, March 23rd, 2016. My name is Jacob.
And I'm Danielle.
And we are the Proteus Podcast. Ideas in all shapes and forms.
Indeed. And to jump right into that, let's talk about creepy stalkers.
Creepy stalkers are quite awesomenessly maybe the best, or quite awesomely completely the worst.
No, I'm talking about the type of stalker that walks through your apartment building in a closed gated community, by the way, like a closed gated apartment building.
Totally someone that lives there.
Yeah. And then drops creepy ass books on your doorstep.
Now, tell me about what do you mean creepy ass books?
So there's this book called it's more like a pamphlet, but many pages. National Sunday Law by A. Jan Markuson. Evidently, it's been around since the 70s, and it's this interesting conspiracy theory that somehow intertwines the end days with the mark of the beast and political theory.
That sounds like something I would definitely throw away.
Yeah, and normally that's what we did with the first two that were left on our doorstep. And now we've had 4. And
now, when you say pamphlet, more so book, do you think this is something that's costing somebody $20 to leave on your doorstep?
No, they probably had them mass produced during the 80s, and they've just been sitting on tomes of them, like tomes of boxes. So, yeah. But the shitty part about this, right, is that you spend a lot of time, right, trying to be like, it's cool. Everyone can believe what they want to believe. Or, hey, you know what? You're a cool Christian. You're a cool atheist. You're all cool people. And then someone uncool starts telling you that your GPS is the mark of Satan.
I used to work with someone that was, like, big time believed a lot of the conspiracy theories, and like the government institute did this and that and the other thing. And for a while I tried to argue with him because I don't believe the government can find its own ass with 2 hands and a flashlight, let alone run a proper conspiracy. You know, especially because, like, this is a funny one and very semi-current. It's like everyone all through the 90s and so on and so forth assumed the NSA was listening to everything. Because the NSA was listening to everything. You know, and they pretended it was a secret. But when it comes right down to it, everyone knew. It's like when they finally announced, hey, the NSA has been listening to everyone. You're like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no joke. It's like, you know.
Who was surprised by that? No one. The NSA was surprised that we hadn't been believing the lies all these years.
So, yeah, and you know, what you were saying is like you tried to argue with the person. And, you know, didn't do any good. But
it's like that great saying that I can't remember who it's attributed to. But it's arguing with an engineer is like wrestling a pig. After a while, you realize the engineer and both of them enjoy it.
Yeah.
Arguing with a conspiracy theorist is like wrestling with a pig. They just enjoy it. You're just going to get filthy.
Least if other people come and knock on our doors, right? Every now and again, the Jehovah's Witnesses make it through the gate. Every now and again, the Mormons make it through the gate. And they're always rather nice. It's like, okay, no thank you. Please leave. Or, hey, come in and have a scone and let me tell you about my lesbian relationship. You know, and they're civil. But a person who just drops something off on your door is not civil.
Yeah,
it's the opposite thereof.
Yeah. And doing it more than once is creepy. You are correct. So if you ever get to meet them, you should just look at them and say, you are just the worst.
I agree.
And then part ways immediately and, you know, maybe call the cops.
So I'm trying to decide what to do to dissuade them from leaving anymore.
All the ideas that popped into my head are too gross to say on national radio.
Well, luckily we're not national radio.
Yeah, but I like to imagine we are. So we're not going to talk about that.
I'm thinking I'm going to take the latest one that they left and I'm going to burn it like halfway and then leave it on my doorstep with a note saying, "I touched it."
You know what I would do? Because I'm way more dedicated to my insanity than any rational person should be. So I would burn it halfway and then laminate it and then staple it to my door. Here it is. I looked at it. Don't ever bother me again.
Laminated it.
Laminated?
That's a lot of lamination. That's lots of pages.
Just the cover, or something. Just to get the point that I've saved this. I have it. Don't bring me another.
Thank you for wasting my time, upsetting my partner, disturbing my cats, and here is your laminated, half-burnt cover of your shitty ass book.
It's like there comes a point, because I am the type of person that seems to enjoy escalating things to a certain degree, when someone inconveniences me on a deep and deep-seated emotional level, it becomes my immediate goal to inconvenience them far more. Allow me to tell you a story. One time, I was sleeping. It was the restful, peaceful sleep of someone that was asleep. And all of a sudden, my telephone rang in the middle of the night at approximately 2 a.m. Normally, this indicates that there's something resembling an emergency involving someone in my life, so I immediately answered the phone without looking at it. And there was a young man of some sort on the other end. And he told me that he had gotten my phone number from 2 girls at the bar, and they said that I would be cool and he could buy some stuff from me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it took me a moment to completely come awake and realize what was going on. And I said, no, that they were messing with you. I don't do that. Because I finally grasped this young fellow was looking to buy some form of drugs.
Oh.
And he was like, no, I'm sure they totally gave me this number, and they insisted it'd be cool, that they knew you, and you would get me some stuff, and I'll pay extra, just I need some stuff tonight. At this point, I became extremely angry. And it became my life's goal to teach this young man the error of his ways. And so I began to berate him in great color and length on the telephone, describing his ancestry in great and livid and lurid detail and the quality of his person, and ordering him in no uncertain terms that it was his duty to hang up the telephone. For a moment, he persisted. He was like, no, it's cool. I'm cool. She said, the girl said this, that, and that. And after a while, he finally realized, perhaps I have been had. And finally, at the very end, he very dutifully said, yes, sir, thank you, and hung up the phone.
I only have one real thought to that, and that is, so can you tell me where to get a wombat bag?
First, you're going to need a wombat satchel, which is entirely different. Yeah. Of course, because at that point I was so riled up, I spent the next 2 hours plotting ways to mess with the next person that calls me looking for drugs. It will be far more unpleasant for them.
Just have them meet you at the Martha Lights viewing area.
Well, my thought was to, be like, meet me at this place. I'm going to drive up in this colored vehicle, just jump in. I don't sell in public. We're going to go to a place. And then take them out to the Martha Lights viewing area, make them get out and leave.
Or, even better, you call the police and you're
say,
like, hey,
so-and-so's going to be looking for drugs at this time in this place. You should probably go talk to him. Yeah. All those thoughts came to me afterwards. And I was like, I could have had him. But I was too mad.
But now you're prepared.
I am very prepared.
Also, don't pick up anyone in your car.
Why not? I'm a violent person. I'll be fine.
Yeah, but they may be more violent.
Oh, I find that very unlikely.
Or worse, they may be of someone that you can't be violent against.
Oh, I'm very choosy about the type of people I'm violent against, and wouldn't pick up someone that I can't be violent against.
It could be a violent nun.
I wouldn't pick up a nun. We had a funny conversation about hitchhiking and so on the other day, because there's parts of this side of the state that you probably shouldn't hitchhike in. And we were thinking, well, they say, oh, don't pick up anybody in this part of town. I said, if I was over there and walking, I'd be thinking, boy, I hope nobody tries to pick me up. The people passing by are like, boy, we shouldn't pick him up. And the person walking is, boy, I hope nobody tries to pick me up. It's mutual. Everyone's nervous in those places.
But what do you have against hitchhiking nuns?
Virtually nothing, except, everything.
You can't trust a nun?
You can't trust anybody these days.
Can't trust a nun.
I don't know. That's the point is, I haven't ever seen a nun out here, so it would be, something sketchy going on here. Why is there a nun? Not insinuating that all nuns are bad. I'm insinuating that if there was a hitchhiking nun out here, all by her lonesome, something sketchy's going on.
Or maybe she's just, making a pilgrimage by hitchhiking across the country.
Yeah, she's committed to her craft. She can walk.
Oh, wow. You're so cruel.
I'm not cruel. I'm allowing her to build her faith through the toil of wandering across the West Texas desert.
I would pick up a nun.
Well, but apparently you're a better person than I am.
I've given rides to many hitchhikers.
Now, I'll give rides to hitchhikers.
But not a nun hitchhiker.
Well, the opportunity hasn't arisen, to be perfectly frank. It might be that, I would actually give a ride to a nun. It all is one of those spur of the moment, you got to go with your instincts right in that moment kind of a thing with picking up a hitchhiker. Because sometimes you see somebody walking, you're like, nope, that one's not even, don't even make eye contact.
Nope.
And other times you're like, hey, I need to pick this person up.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much how I operate on that whole thing.
Okay.
So there's a good chance the nun would actually get a ride.
All right. Well, that's good. I was a little bit worried about you. I was worried that you were completely cold to the world. Well, that your heart had shriveled 3 times too small.
Only 3 times too small?
No, it's only a nun.
Well,
If it was a Buddhist monk,
that'd be weird
different. Too. Yeah. Why is a Buddhist monk hitchhiking?
Why is there a monk? What's going on here? Is this a trick? This feels like a trick.
The land of no Buddhists. Except for those in the hippie art commune.
Have you ever joined a hippie art commune?
I've been through a hippie art commune. I didn't join them.
I saw a hippie art commune up close once. I didn't join, but I was, I accidentally spent a night there or something.
Did it smell like patchouli? And
that stuff
tell me,
is just the worst.
How long before you realized that you were in Marfa, Texas?
I wasn't in Marfa. I was in California, which was my first mistake.
My first mistake, I went to California. My second mistake, I picked up a hitchhiking nun. My third mistake, I smoked patchouli with the hippie art commune.
I didn't know you pronounced the L in that word. I always pronounced it more like a sneeze. Patchouli.
Patchouli?
But, I was not an English major, so that's a good possibility.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Potato.
To those of us out there in Radioland, to those of you in Radioland, if you know how to pronounce that, we don't have a comment system, but let us know.
Oh, God. You know what you just did? People are going to argue about colloquialisms and colloquialism versus colloquialism. Someone's going to be like, it's tomato. And someone else is going to be like, it's potato. And
it's not tomato, it's potato.
And another person will be like, we're not even talking about fruits and vegetables.
Well,
You've incited bedlam. Complete chaos, I tell you.
Before we spiral too far down this, rabbit hole, the whole being in California, picking up a hitchhiking nun and smoking patchouli with the hippie commune sounds like the start of a heck of a screenplay.
You should write it.
I'm not going to write the next Hunter S. Thompson novel.
Do you hear that? The sirens are coming.
Hi, police!
It's like that's a bad idea. We're putting it under arrest.
It's probably a bad idea.
Meanwhile, someone in Hollywood's like, I got this great idea for a movie.
There's gonna be a nun.
Johnny Depp and Uma Thurman and Billy Bob Thornton.
So Fear and Loathing in Los Angeles.
Yeah, like where it starts.
Well, it's part 2. Fear and Loathing in
Part
Las
2.
Vegas, Fear and Loathing in Los Angeles, Fear and Loathing in
Fear
Silithus.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas starts off in Los Angeles.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I watched the start of that not that long ago. It starts off in the middle of a freeway.
Yeah, no.
Out in the desert, not in Los Angeles.
Well, yeah, and he's like, it all began, where it all began. And he goes back to where it all began.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean this. You start out in the desert, then you have a flashback to where it began. So the movie doesn't start in Los Angeles. Pedantics. Nevertheless.
It was a book.
Anyways.
It was a great book.
Yeah.
You should read the book.
You remember Fear and Loathing in Silithus? I still have that somewhere.
Speaking of Garcelle Goad.
I did not write that, but boy, was it funny. That to those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, it's an inside joke, and we're not sorry.
But one day, we might share the inner secrets of the inside joke.
I think it's one of those inside jokes that goes so deep it wouldn't be funny to people that weren't there.
I don't know.
There's so much context woven into that it wouldn't even make sense.
Well, isn't that like the definition of an inside joke?
Probably. I don't feel like Wikipediaing it right now.
Well, just spitball it.
That's probably the context of it, or the definition of an inside joke is a joke that's only funny in context. But the context we're referring to has so much context within itself. It's like an inside joke recursion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So are you saying that if we get 4 layers deep on an inside joke, we can plant a pun and it will take hold and manifest?
That sounds right. Did I tell you I accidentally inceptioned myself a while back?
No.
Yeah. So, for those of you that haven't seen Inception, this won't make any sense. For the rest of you, this probably still won't make any sense. I had a dream because I was asleep, right?
Makes sense.
And I had this where I was trying to wake up because I had something important to do, and so I'm struggling to wake up. And, my eyelids are just super heavy and I'm really tired, and I drag an eye open. And it's dark, and there's a candle, and drag another eye open, and I'm looking at these lights in this room. I'm going around the room trying to figure out what it is that I was trying to get done in this room. And then I suddenly realized this room doesn't exist. I need to continue waking up because I was dreaming that I was asleep in a dream.
Oh,
and
no.
So I had to come back up another level. And it was, okay, this looks more like my apartment instead of a Roman Colosseum. Much better. Now I'm actually awake. So it turns out if you go 2 layers deep, at least for me, there is no secondary dream down underneath there. It's just total coal black dark. I am so asleep that it hurts.
So, past 3 nights, okay, I've had interesting dreams. The first 2 nights, I couldn't remember what I was dreaming about. I remember that it was challenging and that it was satisfying. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I could, aside from that, I couldn't remember what they were, which is very weird for me because I write down all my dreams. I have a very good dream memory. But I couldn't remember it, and it was kind of baffling me.
That is odd.
So, what I did is... Oh, 1 second, sorry. What I did is I went to sleep again thinking, oh well, it's the worst. Just have another night of not remembering my dreams. And then, so I had a dream that I was showing a person around a school. And in my dreams, whenever I dream about education, it's like an amalgamation of Sol Ross, my elementary school, my high school, and my home, home back in Texas. And I was showing someone around the school. We go into this art classroom, and I see the assignments up on the wall, and I see my name up, and then I see that I had assignments due. And I was like, wait a second. I have assignments due? I haven't been doing assignments. I mean, I'm graduated. I'm not in school. What's going on? And then, like, in the dream, I was like, wait a second. I was dreaming that I was in school. And I was dreaming that I went to school for 2 days. And I was enjoying the schoolwork. One of my classes was like an arts class. This is what I was working on in those dreams. And now I'm having a nightmare about being weeks behind in the class. Okay, that's what I was dreaming about yesterday and the day before. And since am not going to school right now, this is also a dream.
That's a very complicated situation.
I know. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
See, whenever I have dreams about school now, I have this dream that I suddenly realize, wait, I've been enrolled in this class all semester and I haven't even gone. And then it's this frantic panic battle to find the teacher of the class and convince them to let me take the final anyways. And if I can pass the final, they'll let me pass the class. And it's this giant, negotiation to get them to agree to that because, it proves that I somehow studied all this book and learned everything I was supposed to. And then you wake up and going, wait, I'm not in school. That was years ago.
And why was I fighting to be able to do a final? Holy crap. What is wrong with me?
Well, it's like, I don't want to fail a class and mess up my GPA, so I have to do something.
Something must be done.
Yeah, it's always exactly nice and stressful, and then you wake up going, why? What am I? And
I've been thinking about going back to school because, dreams of a doctorate.
Right.
Like sugar plum fairies dancing around my head. And every time I start, looking at that seriously, I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to have a nightmare about enrolling in classes and completely forgetting to do the work. And sure enough, there's the nightmare.
Yeah. It's like I've occasionally thought, it's like, yeah, I should go back to school for something like this or that. And I'm like, yeah, how in the world am I going to make that working full time?
I did it.
Yeah.
But I was insane.
You were insane. And, it's just clearly getting an education is a young person's folly.
I have coworkers that are 15 years older than I am, getting their masters and doctorates.
I don't have the drive for that, apparently. It's like I look at that and I'm like, so I could spend a bunch of money to have a fancier title and probably still work in the grocery store. Yeah. How about no?
Every time I look at it, I'm like, so I could spend a lot of money to have an even better English degree and still work in IT.
Yeah, basically, same thing.
But I can make my clients call me doctor.
Yeah, But you could just make them call you doctor. Most of them will never know.
Well, with my job, that adds a layer to it. It's like a doctor of what? English. But we're a hospital. You can't say that you're a doctor of English. It's confusing.
Yeah, I could see how that might layer on the obfuscation just a little too deep.
Yeah, it's like, I'm here to support you. I am Dr. Watts of American English. Let us talk about the Industrial Revolution and the works of Walt Whitman, shall we?
We shall not.
We just need to know how this works so we can treat this patient with a broken leg. Oh, yes, a broken leg.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yes, I'll just inspire confidence with my lofty degree.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for making that seem like a bad idea, Jake.
I didn't make it seem like a bad idea. Made it seem funny. Just think of the sheer amounts of comedy you could eke out of using an English degree in a medical setting. You could perform an appendectomy as a joke. That harkens back to a piece of literature you probably haven't read.
Probably so.
You should probably do that if you like to read funny books.
Well, you should tell me what the name is.
Basically everything ever written by, holy smokes, it's gone.
Man, I've never heard of that author before.
No, wow. Patrick McManus. There we go. Wow.
Patrick McManus.
I was worried for a second there. I thought I might have deleted a file.
Well, have you seen the movie Inside Out?
Yes.
Okay, so you just haven't been using that memory, so it's been fading at the bottom of your subconscious.
Yeah. Did you see speaking of Inside Out, and we're going to totally change directions here, did you see the supercut of all of the outside parts of Inside Out?
No.
Someone went to all the effort of watching the movie and clipping out all of the inside parts of Inside Out and just assembling everything that happens on the outside into a short film, and it holds up as a short film.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's Pixar being amazing as usual, because if you take away all the inside stuff, it's still a good story and it holds up as a short film.
So it was like Pixar Inception.
Yeah. There you go. Now the real question is, could you make the inside stuff hold up as a film on its own without the outside stuff?
Yes.
Maybe?
It'd be more silly.
It'd be sillier and it'd be a little more inferred because you wouldn't have a lot of context in certain situations. Hey, look, context again.
Yay, context.
Yay, context.
Of course, some of the inside parts show the outside part while still in the inside.
Yeah.
So, which emotion did you relate with?
Me? I relate to anger all
which emotion is helming your inner control panel? Because, like, the dad, right? Mm-hmm. The dad was being piloted by anger, which was interesting. And the mom was being piloted by sadness, also interesting.
And Joy was piloting the kid.
The teacher, I thought, was really interesting that the teacher, even though, like, when she was watching her classroom, it was exasperating, she was piloted by Joy primarily. She was at the center of the console.
Yeah. I think that it's pretty much just an all-out brawl.
It's all-out brawl?
Yeah. My inside of my head's like a bag full of cats.
That's kind of sad.
Yep.
As long as you're not heading towards the river.
It's lively anyways.
It's a lively bag of cat emotions.
A lively bag of cat emotions.
There you go. Uh-huh. There's the title.
Yep, lively bag of cat emotions.
You should write that down.
I can't forget that. I'll have to write that down. Where's my notepad?
Scribble.
Don't have one. I'll just put it here.
Good job. We've now heard keyboard typing. The evening is a success.
Yes, it is. All right, so I think it's time for a quote. Do you have a quote?
Well, okay, wait a second. I'm not done. Done.
You're not done? Okay.
No.
Bring it back around then.
I'm doing something, first for my lifetime this weekend.
Oh?
Mm-hmm. I'm caucusing.
Oh.
I'm just
I
saying
don't even know how to feel about that.
What? Caucusing?
They really need to rename that. The Modern Times snickers every time it hears the word.
What's wrong with the word caucusing?
Nothing.
I mean, are you thinking like it sounds like that word that you use in construction to caulk something?
Sure. We'll go with
I
that
don't-
answer.
I don't know why that's a problem.
I can't think of a reason that I don't.
So, anyway, I've never caucused before in my life.
Okay.
So I'm going to go caucus with all my neighbors.
Who are you caucusing for?
Well, okay, it's the Democratic caucus, so I will be caucusing for a Democrat.
Hmm.
I think I know who I'm going to caucus for, but I don't know yet.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. I'm hoping I get chosen as one of the delegates, though. Evidently, according to this YouTube video I found about how a Washington caucus works, there's a chance of that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, my brain's starting to misfire.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it
I'm
too
so
much caucus
tired
about?
of the elections, and we've got so much left to go
Oh,
that it's just. I
I'm
want it to
loving
be
it.
done.
I love
want
the
it to be
political
done.
cycle.
It's just
Such
too much noise to signal ratio right now.
such an interesting year.
It's an interesting year, but the signal to noise ratio is skewed away in the wrong direction.
Well, yeah. We
Anyways,
shouldn't get into this right now.
I found a great quote that goes with everything we've talked about today.
Huh? Sounds like a Hail Mary. Go for it.
Well, this is a relatively recent quote, and it comes from Matthias Wandel from YouTube. He does construction things, builds neat stuff. And the quote is, "Maybe I should organize that drawer, but the space efficiency of pure chaos is hard to beat."
Are you saying that we were discussing pure chaos?
Well, we did call the inside of my mind a bag of cats.
Well, yeah. A cat bag full of emotions.
Yeah.
Listen to me meow.
No, we're not. No. Do you have a quote for today?
Yeah, I do. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. Maya Angelou.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah. But, so, the jaded meter, I guess, comes right after the quote, and since you were really eager for the quote, I assume you're eager for the jaded meter.
Well, despite everything, I should be more jaded. Nevertheless, I'm only like 2.
A 2.
I had a really good afternoon.
You had a really good afternoon?
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
I fixed a doorknob.
Ooh, cathartic.
Put a knob back on one of my kitchen cabinets.
Also cathartic.
I made some fancy magnets.
I think everything can be called cathartic.
I got a thing in the mail I'd been looking forward to getting, and it's just what I wanted.
Mail is satisfying.
Yeah, there's something really nice about opening a package and being like, ooh, I forgot
I'm
I ordered
expecting
this.
a book.
I got a book that looks like it's going to be really irritating to read, so that'll be cool. I'm just, everything's pretty okay right now. Despite having a miserable morning at work, everything's pretty okay.
Well, for me, myself, Krista is currently out of town. She's in Hawaii.
Ooh.
And will be there till next week.
Tell her to bring back some sand.
Oh, maybe. And unintentionally, at least, swimsuits.
Yeah, they're great for that.
So, there's that. My house feels weird without her in it. And with all the religious, political conspiracy books being left rudely at my door, I was considerably higher, but then we talked about ways to deal with that, and that lowered my jaded. Probably 4. Yeah, 4.
Well, at least you're below the fulcrum.
Yeah, I'm below the fulcrum of suck. I guess that's something.
Is that the official title for the fulcrum on the jaded meter? The fulcrum of suck?
The fulcrum of suck.
Wedged carefully at the point at 5.
Yeah, it's like 5. You're at the precipice of the fulcrum of suck.
Someone
I don't
probably
know how
is going
that
to need
works.
to draw a diagram of this.
Can it be a Venn diagram? Let's make it even more confusing.
Yeah, a Venn diagram of the precipice of suck on the
of the precipice
of the
of the
fulcrum
of suck. A Venn diagram.
Yes.
Matter of fact,
to anyone out there that
t-shirt.
knows how to draw a Venn diagram and make it seem halfway rational, we challenge you. A Venn diagram of the jaded meter built around the fulcrum of suck. And the precipice they're up on.
If you do that, leave it as feedback for us, either on Stitcher or iTunes.
And follow us on Twitter if you, for some reason, would like to hear more of all this.
Or want to tell us that we suck. We like that feedback too.
That's good feedback.
Yeah, that way we can look at it,
And
make
ignore
motions to the air. Why have thou forsaken me, internet?
In the words of Strongbad, keep sending me emails and I'll keep making fun of you.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jacob.
And I'm still Danielle.
And we have been the Proteus Podcast. Have a good night.
Good evening.